women and them having children and their safety is everybody's business.
Have you seen racial bias actually affect the outcome of a birth?
It's a crisis.
For Dr. Sarah Tadde, the birth of her son Micah should have been a joyful moment. But her experience, she says, was marred by dismissal and discrimination.
I want black women to have audacity. And I told myself, the minute I feel like I'm no longer being a great midwife, I'll take a break. Two things can be true with me. One thing can be, yes, the hospital doesn't give great care all the time. But yes, the other thing, like doulas are unsafe too.
How important is the food that we take in relation to our pregnancy experience?
They were eating mangoes from the tree. Now mummies are eating Skittles, chicken and chips. You are sicker than your ancestors.
No way.
Yeah, and I'm so happy that you're giving me the space to be completely free.
Hello, Mama Dínya in the building.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm blessed. I feel good, honestly.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm so good. You heard me say this like 500 times today. I'm so excited for this.
Thank you for having me, honestly.
Thank you for doing it. So before we even get into anything, before I let you guys in on what we're talking about today, I want to play a little game with you just to like soften up the vibe a little bit and even get myself comfortable as I get you in the swing of things. All right, cool. So it's a game of this or that. And essentially, I ask you this
Or that.
or that. First question, home birth or hospital birth?
Home birth.
Medical model of care or holistic model of care?
Holistic model of care.
Emotional recovery or physical recovery, which is harder?
Emotional recovery.
Pain relief in labor or unmedicated birth?
I can't answer that because it depends. But I would say pain relief.
Is easier or...
Are you asking which one's easier? Pain relief's easier.
Western medicine, this is the last one. Western medicine or holistic care?
Bit of both.
You want to pick one. Which one are you going to?
Holistic. What was the Western or...
Western medicine or holistic care?
Holistic care.
This is very interesting.
You forced me. I wouldn't choose one. You forced me, but holistic if I had to choose.
What would be if you could give a single answer why, what would that answer be? A very brief one.
Between why
why that one got the pick.
It got the pick because I feel like it's a tad safer.
Okay. I hear you. Okay, so before we started filming, I kind of was explaining to you why I feel so much more, I want to say much more passionate about this conversation, and I want to bring you guys in on that a little bit more. So my manager and I were actually having a conversation, and usually she'll just hit me with like certain topics where she'll be like, oh, Wunmi, like, don't you think this is interesting? And one topic that she consistently, from the point I'd met her, actually consistently spoke about was about maternal health, just because she's had experiences like, people in her life who've had very severe situation occur with them because of, their maternal health. And so she'll bring it to me and I didn't necessarily like hear her completely, like I would receive it. But because I'm not in that space, like I'm not thinking about being a mother tomorrow, it's not really at the forefront of my mind. So I've never really taken it in. And for the last, I want to say maybe about 2 months, it's kind of been a topic of conversation between her and I more. And so as we started to think about, episodes and conversations I really wanted to have, one thing she was like, have you really thought about this maternal? I really think we should really speak about this. And I'm like, I haven't crossed that bridge yet. So I don't know if there's anything I can speak to on the situation. And so she's kind of suggested like, do your research, like just you find out and see if there's anything that comes out of it. And in the planning of this episode, in the sitting down with it and hearing a lot of things that she had to say and she's been saying to me for the last year or so, when I tell you I'm so shocked at the state of maternal health not just in the UK, but like globally. But like if we're speaking specifically for the UK, I am like, oh, it's this bad?
Yeah.
There's some conversations that you hear and you're like, oh, it's not that bad. And I'm quite an optimistic person where I'm like, nothing bad can really happen to me. Like, and I think with that kind of mindset, it limits your ability to see like the wider scope of a situation like this. And so in my research, like I've just been like, this is serious. And there needs to be a conversation that really breaks down, where we're at in terms of maternal health for Black women in the UK. So that's why I'm like, yeah, Mama Dínya, she's my girl. She's going to she's going to give me all the necessary information that I need to know, that every Black woman needs to know in order for them to, prepare themselves and just have a wider conversation about, a super important matter.
Yeah.
With that being said, I firstly just want to, before we go into the depth of the conversation, I think it's important for people to know you and understand, who you are. So walk me through how you got to where you are right now. Who is Mamadinya? What is she about?
So, I'm Mamadinya. I've been a nurse for about 6 years, 7 years, a midwife for about 4. And I love everything pregnancy, everything Black women, everything women in general. And I'm somebody that, when you're doing something and it is your purpose, but it feels like something's missing, right? And I'm a Christian and I believe that God called me into this work. And I used to do content about ranting, playing around and stuff. And I was in my sitting room one time and I heard God's voice just tell me that, you have this following, but you're not doing what I called you to do.
Wow.
And I'm the type of person that I'm quite sluggish with God's instruction. But that one, I wasn't sluggish. It almost felt like, okay. So I remember I went up to my room, I got dressed, I went downstairs, I set up my camera, and I started, hi, welcome to Mama's classes. As we all know, Black women are 4 times more likely to die in pregnancy. So that's how I started the whole concept of Mama's classes, which, dedicates to pregnant women, especially Black women. And that's what led me to this. In terms of looking after pregnant women, in terms of being that face of friendliness when it comes to healthcare and midwives. And I'm grateful to God, honestly, because it's opened so many doors and I've managed to help a lot of women, which is an honor. And that's basically how I got here. God told me to do it and I did it.
Oh, so many questions from that. So before you heard that voice from God, before that conversation came to light, you were already in nurse, right? You were already a nurse.
I was already a nurse because God told me to do nursing. God told me to do midwifery. I didn't get into midwifery.
So at what point did you get into midwifery? After that?
After I did the nursing.
Okay.
And then I was a nurse for like a year and it didn't quench anything for me.
Wow.
So I used to go to work. I used to fight all the time. Imagine a nurse fighting with the porters, fighting with other nurses. I was just fighting. I was so angry. And I was like, God called me to be a midwife. So I went back to school, went back to university. I went back to study midwifery. Then I became a midwife. And midwifery is not easy, but it was easy for me. Because I'm like, okay, God called me to do this. And I had the relationship with God where, like, I've had conversations where I'm like, God, you called me to do this. Don't put me to shame. I don't want to lose a mom. I literally have all these things because I'm like, I didn't call myself into this profession.
Yeah.
And I think that's the beauty when you kind of follow God's purpose because He will sort you out because he'll be like, okay, I did tell her to become a midwife.
I led her here, so I must allow her to just walk past this.
Exactly.
That is incredible. So how long was the transition between nursing and then going into midwifery?
So studying to become a nurse took me 3 years. Then I worked for a year. Then I had to go back to university for 2 years. Then I've been a midwife for 4 years.
And then in terms of God, because I think God is very intentional with who He calls and, the spaces that He calls them to.
Yeah.
And I often find that a lot of the time we kind of start to see like little seeds of why we're called into something from our childhood.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, was there anything about your childhood that led you, that you believe like was naturally kind of preparing you to be led into this space?
To be honest, I actually don't know because I was such a naughty child and I was somebody that wasn't very caring. Not caring, but I didn't care about a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why my teachers were like, you want to be a midwife? And I was like, yeah. But it softened me. It's what I needed to like mature.
Wow.
Because I was a very angry child.
Wow.
And now I'm like so soft.
Yeah.
Even though I still have my moments. But it softened me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I needed that.
That is amazing. It's so funny. I'm laughing because I'm thinking like, okay, so for context, we lived in the same area. We went to school in the same borough, but I don't remember there being like a naughty you, or maybe I wasn't really like in touch with what was going on that.
I was a nightmare.
Damn. Okay, so then God called you into this space and, now you are operating and moving in this. You actually said a stat earlier. I don't know if you remember what you said, but you were like, Black women are 4 times more likely.
Yeah, 3 times more likely now, I think. But it's obviously...
Which is something I'm going to get into because also when I found that information out, I was like, this is insane. I want to know, because I said to you earlier that the first time I ever heard the word doula was actually from your video, literally a couple months ago. And I was like, what on earth? Like, what is this?
Yeah.
And so I think there are a lot of other women who are probably watching this who also would love to know the same. So what is a doula and how does that differentiate from a midwife? Are they the same thing?
Very, very different. So midwifery is, a professional that supports you during pregnancy and they can actually help facilitate the birth. Like, we're the ones that help and say, push, push, push. We have the baby's head in our hand. We help support the birth of the baby, put the baby on your chest. You know, we support you after pregnancy. But a doula is like, think of it as an auntie.
Oh,
Think of a doula as an auntie.
that's really nice.
Yeah, you know how like sometimes you don't want to ask your mom some stuff.
Yeah.
You ask your auntie. So a doula is like an auntie where they don't really care about anything outside. They're more you. How can I support you? How can I hold you? How can I create space, a safe space for you? So I always say, because I train people now, and I always say to them that you're the middleman. There's a clash between healthcare professionals and mummies. You're that middleman that will make mum feel heard and translate what the medical people are saying.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's so interesting, because I'm also just thinking that it's not often, or it's not all the time, that a midwife is also a doula. Or am I wrong in saying that?
No, you can't be a doula if you're a midwife.
But then would you count yourself?
No, I'm not a doula. So I'm a midwife, but I can train people to be doulas.
But why can't you do both?
Conflicts of interest.
In what sense?
So legally, I wouldn't be able to, because a doula doesn't have... So for example, say a woman says, I don't want to do this, I don't have to do... A doula will just say, you know what, I support you, I'm okay with that. A midwife can't. I have to say to you, this is medical, so it's like I can't do the whole... Which I can, but as in it's very different. Doulas can't be midwives can't be doulas, but doulas can train to be midwives. But if I wanted to be a doula, I would actually have to give in my pin and say I'm no longer a midwife.
Wow.
Yes, because a mummy could sue me if something goes wrong in the room. A mummy can't sue a doula.
Because it's not a medical thing
I have
necessarily.
a pin, I'm registered.
Wow. Okay, so I think right now as well, one thing I've noticed is, or not that I've noticed, but one thing I want to see if it's true or not, but I feel like doulas, and because it's such a fresh word to me, I'm almost kind of in a mind frame of thinking, is it underrepresented, or is it undervalued, or is it misunderstood? Both midwifery and doulas, like, would you say that they're both undervalued or misunderstood?
I think doulas are misunderstood. I think they are undervalued. I actually steered away from using the name doula for my course, because I used to call it a doula course, and then I changed it to an ally course where this is a mother's ally.
I love that.
And the reason why I said that is because, you know, I'm big on what words mean. Doula actually translates to female slave. And I was like, you know what, I would never want to train anybody to call themselves. I was like, you wouldn't be a female slave. Whereas an ally is you're both working together for the mummy's goal, right? And I've seen horrendous doulas.
Yeah.
I've seen doulas that are so unsafe.
Yeah.
I've seen women that had terrible births and then become doulas and then put their trauma on other women. So there's a lot of issues in the doula world, and doulas and midwives clash a lot. Yeah.
But you wouldn't really expect them to. I was actually watching a TED Talk. It was about a woman called Miriam, I think her name is, an American woman. And she was also someone who was talking about the necessity or the need for a doula and a midwife, which we're going to go into as well. But I find it hard to like understand why there will be some sort of conflict when these two marry up, or should marry up, like so effectively.
Yeah. It's a massive issue. When I had the course, the first cohort to teach doulas, allies, I struggled to get midwives that would agree to teach. They clash that much. They were like, I'm not teaching a doula.
Wow.
But I was like, it's because you've seen the bad side of what doulas are. Whereas I was like to myself, you know what, Black women are struggling. I can go on and talk about it all day, but if I can make movements. So I just took 8 beautiful girls. I trained them for 4 months. I told them specifically, what are Black women, struggling with? How are you going to help them? And that's how they were able to pass after 4 months. You tell me how you will look after Black women. And they've all passed. They're so amazing, and they're going to start working soon, actually.
This is amazing.
Thank you.
What you're doing is amazing, man.
Thank you.
What were you going to say?
I was going to say they're so, as in, I wish I could show you all of them. They're great. And I'm just like, I feel a lot better that, okay, physical things, I'm able to do like practical things to make changes. And it's easier to do that than to change the healthcare system.
100%. It's interesting. One thing I was thinking about is the fact that it's only now, I would say in the last 2 years, I feel like I've been seeing a lot more conversations like from people like yourself, midwives, doulas, etc., like online, where you're actually hearing their thought processes. What do you think is occurring? Why do you think there's more, people are becoming more vocal?
I think people are braver. And I feel like people are just not quiet anymore.
Yeah.
And women are speaking up more. I tell women all the time, like, ask for your notes. You have this unresolved trauma. You can ask the NHS for your notes. It doesn't matter if your baby's 5, 6. So women are speaking out more, and it's encouraging other women to speak up. And then it's encouraging midwives, doctors to speak up and be like, okay, you know what? This is actually an issue. So I think that's why people are speaking about it more. And I'm so grateful because you will save people's lives.
Literally.
Yeah.
You know, earlier we were talking about the statistics that you gave about Black women in the UK are 4 times, or I think now you said it's 3 times. So when I was doing my research as well, that was the first initial thing that had me like holding on to my seat, like, this is insane. I found that it's also the same thing, same situation, if not a little bit slightly worse in the US, as it is, as it is in the UK. And the thing is, that's still like an ongoing trend. And so for someone like you who's actually worked in the system, what comes to your mind personally when you think about that being a stat that is still existing right now?
For me personally, when I hear it, I'm always worried about how other people feel and how other mummies feel, because you never want to hear, oh my gosh, you're 3 times, you're 4 times more likely to die. One thing I want to say, just to reassure Black mummies outside, is that it's not that we have lots of people dying in maternity. So it is 3 times, 4 times more likely to die, but not many people are dying. Because I don't want them to feel like, okay, if there's 100 people, 10 of you are going to die. No. Maternal deaths are rare. Women dying in maternity is not like an issue, a crisis that we have, but we just don't like the fact that you are still more likely to die. And I really wanted to put that out there, because what people don't realize is that the anxiety alone in thinking about that fact ruins people's pregnancies and it increases your stress. So I don't want to steal the joy that you deserve. I don't want you to steal the comfort that you should have in, focusing on, I'm growing my baby, not I'm more likely to die, I'm more likely to die. So I'm saying this to reassure them, but also know that there are things that you need to do to make sure that you're not part of a statistic.
I'm really happy you said that.
Yeah, I was like, I need to mention it because they get so scared, and I hear it, rightly so. But I never want a Black mum entering the hospital thinking, I might not leave here alive. I might not leave here alive. That alone has robbed you. Yeah, and I don't want that.
When you say robbed you in what sense?
It robbed you of what pregnancy should be.
Yeah.
You should go in there, you know what, I'm a bit nervous about the pain, or I'm a bit nervous that I'm going to tear. Not, I'm a bit nervous that I'm going to die. That's something else. That's another level of pain and burden to hold.
Yeah.
And if we talk about what stress does to pregnancy, that's a whole nother topic for another day. So yes, it makes me sad. It makes me so sad that they don't get that opportunity. So I hope that relieves them somewhat.
No, I'm sure it will. I think even just thinking about what you've just explained, I think it'll be good for us to further expand from your opinion and from what you've seen. Why is that still the case? Why is it that Black women are still more likely to?
I think it's a lot. I wouldn't be able to speak on all of the fronts, but I feel like the things that I would say is health issues. Black women have a lot of health issues.
Yeah.
Black women aren't heard. Black women don't know how to analyze certain conditions to voice it out. It's one thing having something that is an issue. How do you voice out that issue? Right? And I feel like a lot of Black women lack confidence, in the sense that, you're never as confident when you're in a space that's not yours. So when you live in a society that you're like, they're not even welcoming me here, you wouldn't feel so comfortable to now be like, oh, you know what? It's like when I came in, I was like, oh, I'm okay. Then I got more comfortable. I was like, oh, can I get water? Exactly. That is how it is. It's, if you're not so comfortable, you're not going to say, you know what, actually, there is actually a tiny pain that I feel when baby kicks. Because you don't say those things.
Yeah.
Now you finally get that confidence to say something and you're shut down. That is a recipe for disaster. Because a lot of times Black mummies will come because they feel like they won't be heard. By the time they come,
it's too late.
It's too late.
Wow.
Or they're sent home, or they're shut, or they're not listened to, and then they're like, okay, you know what, I won't come back. And what, baby hasn't been moving for 3 days, they come back, baby's dead.
God forbid.
It's a crisis.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, I want Black women to have audacity. Like,
Speak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say all the time that I go to work, it's my job.
Mhm.
It's a service that I provide.
Mhm.
I expect you to give me respect, but it's a service. I'm not doing you a favor.
Yeah, I'm here
On
to
the
work.
28th of each month,
Yeah.
I get my pay.
Yeah.
So I think they need to see it as it's a service,
Mm.
not, oh, can I? Every time I look after a black mom, Wunmi, you see the difference in how they speak. Oh, do you reckon it's okay? Or do you think I can? Do you think that's how they ask? That hurts me, man. I'm just like, you can do whatever you want to do. Tell me, the most I can tell you is the most I can say to you is, oh, I wouldn't advise that medical,
Yeah.
I would say that you shouldn't. But you can say to me that this is what you want.
What do you think that's rooted in? I know you said that it's
Culture.
that comfortability thing, but
I think it's culture as well.
Mm.
I think it's the white coat syndrome as well, which is doctor wears a white coat or somebody wears a uniform and
you're
bam,
scary.
You're scary, or bam, you're my boss. They teach us in nursing school, midwifery school, when you talk to a patient, you sit down or you crouch a bit. Because you need to do all these little things for somebody to see that they also have an opinion in your own. I tell people all the time, if you are my client, if you're pregnant and you came to me, I've looked after hundreds, I've supported hundreds of women. I can't count the babies, but I have never looked after Wunmi. I don't know you. I can't know you more than you know yourself.
Yeah.
But to now be met with a pregnant woman that doesn't even know herself.
Yes. Wow,
we're in
recipe.
trouble. So yeah.
And with that in mind, I want to just get on some like personal experiences for you, right? Because I can imagine there's probably been like moments or clients that you've had who, have you been in a situation where a client hasn't spoken, a woman hasn't spoken up, or what they've said has been dismissed, and because of that, because of their lack of speaking up or them being dismissed, it's almost led to something terrible happening?
Oh. I had a lady once and she was having what we call, this didn't lead to something terrible, but it's about speaking up for your patients, right? And she had what we call an ECV. It stands for external cephalic version. It means babies head up or babies to the side, and they physically, with their hands, press down and try and turn baby so that baby's facing. And we say to all mummies, right? Mummies, if it's too much, let us know. But there's culture differences, right? Meaning where somebody could scream and shout, somebody else might not scream and shout. Somebody else with a different culture is like, you know what? It's a bit embarrassing to scream and shout, or women should be seen, not heard. I remember looking at this lady like, you're really struggling. And the doctor asked her like, oh, is it okay? She's like, yeah. But as a medical professional, I have to know when her yes is a no.
Yes. Yeah.
She is in too much pain. Like, and I remember I had to say to them that, okay, wrap it up. And they're like, oh, she's okay. I was like, no, she's not. It's just that you can just tell that her culture probably doesn't allow her to make such a fuss. The woman is crying silently, her fists are clenched, like she cannot. And I'm like, what? And it's because why? In her culture, cesareans are not a birth. So you have to kind of go out of your way to study different cultures to know that this is why she's saying no, not because she's not in, this is why she's saying yes, not because she's not in pain and she's absolutely struggling. It's probably she can't go back home and say she had a cesarean. So those are things that you don't learn in school. You learn, I know because I'm black. I know because I've been around people.
Experience.
I have experience. Yeah. So it's kind of hard because it almost can't be taught.
I think this next question I want to ask you actually feeds in quite perfectly to what you're explaining now. But just thinking for you on a personal one, have you seen racial bias actually affect the outcome of a birth?
Yeah.
Can you talk to me about it? What are your thoughts? What's running through your mind right now?
No, I'll talk about it.
Yeah.
I'll talk about it. I remember one time, I say this all the time, that people come into the hospital. It makes me so sad because after 9 months, this is the biggest day of your life, right? But you've met us on a Tuesday where it's just another shift. And I remember a situation where like a doctor was like, yeah, let's just do a cesarean. I'm going home soon. And just, it's like, yeah. Because cesareans are
faster.
Yeah. It's like a get it done.
Yeah.
Probably baby might struggle later on. And
wow.
I want to go home soon kind of thing. And I thought to myself, like, doctors know who to do that to. Some doctors, do you know what I mean?
I understand completely.
There are some people that you would never in your life dare do that. There's some mummies that will come into the room, even I'm fixing up my scrubs, like, make sure that I've ironed this properly this morning. because they walk in with there's a presence.
Authority.
They walk in with authority.
Yes.
Even with their bump, even in pain,
Yeah.
you know that this mommy,
You can't mess with her.
but black moms. Yeah.
And so what happened with that story?
She had a cesarean, she didn't need. It happens.
Oh my God.
I say it, and then, you know why I'm careful?
Yeah.
I'm careful because at the beginning, I was guns blazing, saying all the facts, snitching on all the doctors. And I said to myself, I don't know how much I'm helping mummies because I don't want to riddle people with fear.
Yes. Yeah.
That's why I had a long pause.
No, I understand.
How helpful that would be.
I understand. I think everything you said from the beginning of the conversation, I feel like it ties in like perfectly with how you delivered the message. And I think the reason it is so important, because even for me the other day when I used to run around talking about, I'm going to get a C-section with, you know, just loosely talking anyhow, because I didn't really know what's what and what's not what, right? But in watching the documentary I was watching the other day, there was these two couples who literally the same, what you just explained is exactly the scenario they had, where it was just kind of like we'll just do this, like we'll just do this instead, you know? And I think I would have never thought that was a bad thing. Whereas now I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't say that again, that I would just have a C-section, or I would just have a thing. And it goes back into that thing of us having clarity and understanding of, you know, what is actually going on and what isn't going on, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And going back to, you know, the stats that you were stating, that there's a lot of, I saw something actually, I'm going to read it out to you. So there's an organization called Birth Rights, which I'm sure you know about. So they published an article because I guess the government have been trying to supposedly do their part to fight the matter, et cetera, et cetera. And so for them, they were trying to figure out exactly like what's moving and what's not moving. So their most recent statement says, there's a lot of talk about tackling disparities, but minimal accountability. Many women and staff still don't see or feel a change. And so for you, is that something that you agree with? Or is that something that you can say that you're feeling the changes that the government are trying to impose or enforce?
I feel it a little bit. But when something has such a big issue, it's like you need a bigger force to make an impact than tiny changes. But I do feel like everyone's on their toes. Everyone knows that, okay, it's always been a big deal, but people are more aware that it's a big deal.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's a lot more to do. But yeah.
And so we're talking now, I want us to kind of redirect the conversation a little bit and talk about what you just pointed out right there, that, you know, you see the changes a little bit, but it's not on like a grand level. And I don't remember exactly what the statement was that you just made, but you were essentially saying that there's more that needs to be done So for you, what does that actually look like? I want to break that down. There's going to be several questions that we're going to use to break this down, but on a loose-ended one, what does that look like? Does it look like it's the midwives and the doulas that will need to do something different? What does that look like?
I think it would look like creating a safer and a better space for the healthcare professionals that are working to work in a space where like they're not tired and so overworked, because I always say oppressed people, right?
Hello.
And a lot of them feel oppressed, and then they end up oppressing the mummies that they're looking after. So you need to also target that side of things, of a midwife that's happy to go to work is a lot nicer than, you know. And sometimes, for example, there was a time that a midwife had to look after a mummy that baby passed away, and then there's not enough staff, and then the midwife is straight into another mummy that baby's okay, and then she doesn't get the right side of that midwife, or she gets the sad side of the midwife. And then there's also the side of making sure that women are completely educated in an unbiased way of all of their choices, so that their choices are informed. We call it informed decisions, meaning you don't just make a decision. You know the reason why your yes is a yes and why your no is a no. Those are changes. And I'm talking about specific classes. What is the difference between, because I hate when people say I don't see colour. I need you to see that I'm black. I need you to see colour. I feel safer if you acknowledge my blackness.
Yes.
If you tell me that you don't see colour, I'm more scared.
Yeah.
I'm more scared. So it's about teaching healthcare professionals, okay, she is black. What are the changes that you need to make?
And let's talk about that actually then. If we're talking very specifically for black women, what does a great experience look like tailored for a black woman who is about to deliver a baby? Like, what does that, take me into that world. What are we doing?
Okay. So from when she's pregnant, obviously give her antenatal care. And I always say specialized antenatal care, like targeted. Okay, for example, her iron is low, right? is something I teach the students that were in my course. She's Jamaican. Tell me the food that she's going to eat to increase breast milk. Don't be telling me something that she's not going to eat.
Oh my gosh, this is for me. Please tell me.
No, but that was what I was telling her. I was telling her, okay, she has GDM, yeah? Give me recipes, yeah, for jerk chicken. That's not going to boost her sugar up. That's what I call care.
Yeah.
Because you say, okay, I want to boost her breast milk, but you're giving her all these things that she's probably not going to eat.
Yeah.
What is the food in her culture that, you know what, now she's going to eat that? It's going to boost her breast milk. It's going to, it's going to boost her iron. And that's specialized care. Okay, you see that she's from this culture. What is that culture like? What is that culture with pain? I tell my mummies all the time, the same way I react to mums in pain.
Yeah.
She doesn't need to be screaming. I've had mums that do this. And I know she's gone. The pain is insane. I don't need her to scream. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
And it takes experience to do that, because there was a lady that was doing that and I was like, oh, I'm going to ask her if I can examine. I'm pretty sure. Or let me open her legs. Baby's head is probably there. And I was like, oh, do you want to just open your legs for me and see? Baby's head was there. But there's a lady next door screaming. And I know that. She's probably 2 centimeters. So it comes with experience and it comes with honesty.
Yeah.
Do I know how to look after a black woman? No. Okay, let's look at caseloads. Speak to black women.
Yeah.
I got black women to come to the class. Tell me, what would you like us to do? You know why? Because even in my years of midwifery, there's only so much I can give you. I've not had a baby myself. I'm pretty sure when I do have a baby, by God's grace, I will have way more knowledge.
Yeah.
But even I'm limited because I don't know how it feels
to
sit down and be on a bed and somebody's listening to my baby.
Yeah.
So people need to speak to mums. They will teach you more than I can teach you. I can teach you what I learned in school, but I can't teach you how it is to be a mum. I've never been a mum. I've not had that experience. And there's so much knowledge that comes with that. You know, you literally said that, you know what, you had to do some research because it's not, you'll find a lot of mums, it's after they've had mums. I mean, after they've had kids, or it's after their sister had kids or their cousin had kids. So I tell everyone that black women giving birth is everybody's business.
Everybody.
It's even if you say you never ever want a child, there is a high chance that somebody you know that you love, that's close to you, that's dear to you, wants to have a child. So it impacts you. So black women and them having children and their safety is everybody's business.
You've got me brain on overdrive right now.
Sorry.
No, it's great. Like it's so good and so important. I'm just thinking about the difference between a woman who experiences a care like that versus a woman who doesn't experience a care like that, where hers has been very much the other side of the spectrum, right? What is the difference that you see out of them and I want you to kind of go into on every level for me, culturally, spiritually, emotionally. What is the difference that you feel from them in the process, but then after? The difference between the two.
So the difference between a mum that's had amazing care.
Yeah, the kind of care that you just spoke about.
And then the difference between a mum that's had horrendous care. Let's talk about the mums that have horrendous care so that we can end on a good note. The mummies that have had horrendous care, emotionally, a lot of them end up with mental health issues. Yeah, especially if they already had issues that, if they, you know, when you're like on a borderline, it sort of sets them off.
Yeah.
A lot of them trauma dump. Because there's no space they don't have space to put that hurt. So they put it in other people, or another mum that spoke to them and said, oh, how was pregnancy? Oh, it was bad. So it leaves a line of fear, distress in each mummy because that's how it is. A lot of them would never want to have kids. There was a lady one time, I was at the desk and she called, and she said she just wants to make sure that they're still making these changes because they like hurt her baby, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, when was this? Because I thought maybe she had a baby a month ago, 2 months ago, a year ago. She had her baby 6 years ago.
Wow.
And she was calling labor ward. I work on labor ward. She called labor ward. Do you know what trauma that woman must be in? Just feel the necessity to call labor ward that, hey guys, making sure so that no other woman will go through what she goes through.
Wow.
That is trauma on another level. So it affects them.
Ooh.
Spiritually, people feel like God failed them. Because why would they go through that? Do you get what I mean? So it makes me so sad what people, and this is postnatal depression is something that happens to a lot of mummies.
Yeah.
You don't need terrible care to add to that. That's almost what sets people off. And I feel like when they don't feel like, that's why I tell people, tell your stories if you can, if you feel safe enough. Because a lot of people fall off because they feel like they're the only ones and they probably aren't. But that's how I would say it affects them after that kind of terrible care, terrible experience.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than when you feel like you should be in safe hands and those people hurt you. It's terrible.
And on the other side,
when they have great care. When they have great care, I feel like, and there's lots of factors that would add to them having great care. They tend to come back faster.
Really?
Like, you again?
Really?
They come back faster because they had a great experience.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't talk about it enough. I find when, like, it's like when you go to a restaurant, it was great food. You tell all your family it was great food, but you don't really go on Google and type. It's when they give you horrendous food that you're more likely to leave a review. But they don't, you know. But they don't. They don't tend to talk to, but they tell their family about it.
Yeah.
And I feel like, for me, from women that I've had great experiences, there's just a different glow. There's a different feeling. They have more love to give to their child. Because they're not dealing with hurt. You know, how do you deal with managing the hurt? How do you deal with managing depression and still feeling like you need to give love to this, now your baby? So I feel like they have a lot more love to give to their baby. And they're like, their mind's a lot clearer to receive information on what to do in this new space that they're in.
It's interesting because as you were speaking, I really feel like you were saying that there's a lot of women who would have amazing experiences and not necessarily like share it, right? And so because of that, I just want to even spend like a little moment longer just talking about the moment for you where, I don't know if you were in a ward or you were talking to a woman or you were taking care of a woman where you were like, this type of care is necessary. Like, can you describe a moment that comes to your mind when I say that?
Yeah. I remember I had a water birth. I said I always say I like it's me. It's my mommy's.
But that's how you know that's a good midwife.
We had a water birth.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, I wanted everything to be quiet. I wanted everything to just be still. Because I was like, I need this more. Like, I wanted to feed on that energy more.
Wow.
It was the safest space I've ever been in.
Wow.
Why? Because mom was so, like, she knew what she wanted with her body. Her husband, so amazing. You know, he knew her.
Yes.
He knew her. I remember he knew her. He knew what she needed. He knew every word to say. Like, I was just like, this is so perfect. I know why that space was so amazing. It felt like everybody knew what everybody needed to do. It was me, it was her, it was birth partner, and it was my student at the time. It was chilled. The lights were dim. They had our little fake candles. We had music playing, you know. She had jazz on.
I literally just want to say jazz.
She had jazz on. And the water was warm. She was just swaying. He was rubbing her head. I was listening to baby. I remember I'm reducing the monitor, its volume, so that it only did some making noise in the room. So you could still hear the jazz. And it was like her pushing, her, like, baby came out. Baby was so chilled until we brought baby out, put baby on her chest. And I remember thinking, like, if I could mimic this experience, every pregnant mummy, it was so beautiful. Like, it was the best birth ever.
Wow.
Like, it's so amazing. Baby should be like 2 now.
Stop.
Yeah, baby should be like 2.
You said so many important things there. I think the number one thing for me was that there was like an order, there was a system. Like, everybody did their part. Between yourself, the husband, the woman, like, that is amazing. And I hate to pivot from that being amazing to like a not so amazing question. But just going back, it keeps coming to my mind, right, that, you know, there is a woman out there who unfortunately has a doctor who's going to be like, I need to go and get, I don't know, food. And so because of that, let's do a C-section on this one because she will allow it. Like, she doesn't necessarily maybe know her rights, or like she doesn't have, like you were talking about, the authority to, you know, demand better for herself in those moments. Has there been a situation, going back to you, I know I'm asking you a lot of moments for yourself, I think I want to hear the stories. But I'm thinking, was there a moment for you, has there been a moment for you in your journey where you had to step in and been like, no, I'm saying no to this?
So it's hard because I can't say no for mummy. But there has been a moment where I've had to speak to the mum one-to-one.
Love.
And I get scared when... Do you know why? It has to also feel like a safe space for me.
Yeah.
To feel like, you know what, I'm going to talk to her and ask her and speak to her and let me tell her what I think. That might not necessarily be what the doctor just said. Why? My job is on the line. So it has to...
Yes.
Do you get what I mean?
It's heavy.
It's heavy.
It's very heavy.
So sometimes I'm like, should I say? Because the woman could just easily say, but the midwife told me...
Yeah. And then you're finished.
Yeah.
Please.
And it's a thing of, okay, what if I do say something and it doesn't work? How do I hold that burden? So I say that, and I'm so happy that you're giving me the space to be completely free and actually speak about my opinion.
Yeah.
I really do get scared of giving advice or telling women how it really is, because what if it doesn't work? How do you do in that space? How do I hold that for you? So it's like, I'm stuck. And that's the honest truth.
Yeah.
Is I genuinely, sometimes I just feel stuck.
Let's press in on that a little bit more, right? Because I can imagine, like, I'm just, as you were saying that, I was putting myself into your shoes. Like, what would I do? It's actually a do or die situation. Has there been an experience where you were happy with the decision you made?
Yes.
And has there been an experience where you've not been happy with the decision you made? You can share either one that you want to share.
The one that I'm happy.
Yeah.
The one that I'm happy, I remember there was this lady came in, she was with her husband, and she had a cesarean the first time.
Yeah.
Did she have she had a forceps delivery, so an instrumental. We used instruments.
Thank God you're saying what it is. I'm like,
instruments to help bring baby out. And she wanted to push by herself and get baby out by herself. And I remember I took handover, and then I could gauge her, and I was like, okay, cool. I think you're getting, the way you're sounding. And the doctors wanted to come in, I think baby had shown us a tiny sign of distress.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I would be stressed if I was baby too. That's what I say to myself all the time. I'm getting squeezed through a tiny canal. If anybody was going to listen to my heartbeat, I'll be a little bit stressed, obviously within reason. So I remember saying to the doctor, like, okay, bear with me. I will let you know if anything changes. And I remember just having to speak to her and be like, if I'm honest with you, I personally think you can do it. Like, I swear, I think you can do it by yourself. It's because I could just, that midwife, there's a voice in your head. Yeah. And I pray before every shit. I'm like, God, please.
Her life is in my hands.
Yeah. And I was like, I reckon you can do it. And she's like, are you sure? Are you sure? And I was like, if you can give me 30 minutes of pure concentration and you listen to what I've got to say to you and you listen to your body, promise your baby will come out. And I remember we delivered babies. She did it so well. I mean, she was so strong. Oh my gosh. She was so strong. She pushed. Baby was out. Baby was chilled on her chest. And the doctor didn't even come back. And they didn't come back for like an hour or two. And normally when a baby's delivered, we have to go on the board and say, oh, baby's been born straight away, right? And it's more like bed situations to get the bed free. But I didn't do that. I'm not going to lie. I didn't do it, Wunmi. Why? Because I was like, she's not going to get her golden hour if I go and put it on the board and say that she's delivered. They're going to say, oh, take her to downstairs. Someone else is coming. But it was like, we kept the room. Yeah, that's how it is. That's what it is.
It's so like, that's those
it's
like...
a conveyor belt.
Wow, it's too much.
Out. So I was just like, you know what, let's chill. So we were chilling. She was breastfeeding. The husband was on Twitter. We were laughing about different things. I'm telling you, I was just like, this is what people need.
Yeah.
You just had your baby.
Yeah.
We're chilling. Your husband's on Twitter. We're laughing at people's rants. And then I remember our coordinator came in. She's like, what? Baby's born? I was like, oh yeah. All right. And then we had to go straight down, but we managed to squeeze in like 45 minutes to an hour, which, by the way, Wunmi, is actually her right. She actually should have an hour of undisturbed. Let her bond with her baby. Let her baby smell her.
Yeah.
Let her baby breastfeed.
Yeah.
But now, Wunmi, there's a time a baby came out, coordinator came and was like, oh, I need you in room 10. I hadn't even delivered the placenta. The placenta was still inside the mama. I was like, can you get out? That is how much NHS can be a conveyor belt. That, baby's out, placenta's out, clean her up, go and deliver the next baby.
But even for yourself, talk less of the mum, but even for yourself, how do you get your brain to be quickly moving into giving birth to another child that quickly?
You get used to it. I think it's a lot better. It's not as busy. It's not as crazy. I took a break, actually.
Yeah.
Like, I'm on a little break as well myself. And I think it's because it gets a lot. And I told myself, the minute I feel like I'm no longer being a great midwife, I'll take a break. And I did that before I studied. And I said, the minute I can gauge that I'm losing my softness, I'm losing my kindness, I'm losing, what makes me me, I'll leave. And I remember I just needed to take a break. I'm going back soon. But I took a break because it got so busy. There was a time, literally, when I was supporting a woman, there was not enough staff. I was on my period and I could feel myself leaking. Like, my period, I felt myself leaking. Wow. And there was nothing I can do. Why? Because there's no one to come and take my space to support this woman. That is NHS. Oof. I remember changing look. I literally had to ask, like, okay, I need new scrubs, I need new things. That's what NHS is. That's me being upfront.
Yeah.
Is that sometimes you don't have somebody to come and swap shift with you.
That's crazy.
But yeah.
Just quickly, and this is my last point on this, right? So when we're talking about, the moments where you've had to step in and you've been happy with your decision, I feel like there might be a young midwife, young doula lady, somebody watching this video who might just be thinking, like, if I was in that situation and I need to make a decision, do I step in, do I say something or do I not? How do you then decide? I think, especially given that, you've had experiences on both sides where you were right and then you've had experiences where you weren't necessarily right. How do you decide? How do you choose where to land?
In terms of speaking up?
Yeah, in terms of speaking up for the mum.
If you speak up and you're in the wrong, take the L. Why? Because for everyone you will save in that situation, it's worth the little, I'm a bit uncomfortable, I'm a bit embarrassed. I look at the picture of who did I help? Okay. And you learn from experience. No, a student midwife will tell you that at one point in their 3 years or at one point in their 2 years of studying, they looked stupid. It's part of the job. It's what helps you not look stupid later.
In the long run, yeah.
Even me, I do some things, I'm like, Elizabeth, at your age, with your experience. So I'm like, always speak up. And I tell people, it's how you speak up. I know that I'm a novice in this game, or I know that I'm not. It's how I say things. Sometimes I say it's simple as, or have you considered, or can you teach me about, say it in a way that can be, people don't feel like you're threatening them or you feel like you know more than everybody. That's how it will even be welcomed. Yeah. You get what I mean?
I definitely get you. I want to focus again on, not again, but focus on what occurs to a mother after she's given birth, right? And I want us to focus on it on two sides of the spectrum, on the spectrum of a healthy situation and a not so healthy situation, right? So let's go to the unhealthy situation where, there's been an element or a significant element of like racial bias that's occurred before the delivery, right? Are you following me? I want to make sure.
I'm following. I think. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So the woman has given birth now. She's not had the best experience with, say, the doctor or with just the overall process hasn't been great because she is a Black woman and there's certain things that she's had to face. Yeah. And so she's given birth now. The baby is healthy. We thank God. But there's still that, like you said, there's a woman who's still able to call 6 years later and say, hey, is like, trying to help other women. I want to talk about some of those women and what that has been like for you and having to help them through that trauma.
Okay. I feel it always depends on the level of trauma because therapy is very helpful. Yeah. And what people don't realize is that your hospital should have a trauma midwife that speaks on birth trauma, that puts you through therapy on the birth that you had. Yeah. And it's good when they're midwives because they can actually talk to you about, okay, this happens because of this. How do you feel? And stuff so that you can kind of alleviate that. I feel like your community as well, building communities is something that is what I say to a lot of mums, to try and find that community that you can speak to and, express yourself. Family. There's some things that just we can't help you with. Yeah. What's your surrounding? What's your home life like? What's your partner like to speak to you on that? And sometimes a lot of women just need to voice it out. Speak about it. But therapy is my big one of try and speak to a birth trauma specialist that can help alleviate that because it would trigger into your next pregnancy if you don't fix it before then.
Have you had an experience like that where you can, not necessarily that you've seen it trickle into someone's next experience, but more so like you've seen how trauma is taking shape in their movement? And what does that look like? Give me an example of something you've seen.
I've seen a lady, it was her second baby, and she explained to us that she felt robbed. Wow. She felt robbed of her first pregnancy. how things could be. She felt like she was lied to. She felt like she wasn't given a choice. And sometimes that shows up in someone as now becoming almost irrational. Because it feels like, you guys did me wrong, I don't trust you anymore. So even when there's a space of, we're trying to help you, they don't welcome that help. That's what it looks like. And sometimes it could be you see sometimes, there was a time the dad came in and he was like, the way he came in, it was already like, you could tell he was agitated. And I was like, something's happened before. Somebody doesn't just start off feeling like this or being so dismissive to everybody. It's because something has happened before. So sometimes it shows up in being dismissive, being like, okay, I don't want to hear you, or you induced me the first time and I feel like I didn't need an induction. I ended up with a cesarean. I'm not going to be induced anymore. And then bam, sometimes a woman will say, I'm never going to get induced, and baby doesn't come, baby passes away. It shows up in physical, it shows up in mental. That's why you're like, you've got to deal with that trauma. And there's so much content out there that is so unsafe, of women telling other women to do crazy stuff.
Like what?
With big followings, by the way. There's some like doulas or some, they're never midwives to be fair, but there's some doulas out there that tell women that never, ever, ever, ever accept induction. That is the most dangerous thing to tell a woman. Yes, I get it. There are a lot of inductions that are not necessary. I agree. Things have become medicalized. But some women, if they don't get induced, their babies will die. And I hate the fact that they don't acknowledge that. They don't acknowledge the fact that some of the women that follow your advice end up with dead babies.
Wow.
And then they'll say stuff like, that baby wasn't meant to meet Earthside. Who gave you that power? Who gave you the right to say that baby wasn't going to meet Earthside?
Yeah.
And I tell people all the time, when their babies, there's survivor bias, right? So they did something crazy, irrational, and their baby survived. And then they come out, my baby survived at 42 weeks. That's great for you. Somebody else's baby wouldn't have survived at 41.
Wow.
That's why I tell anybody that, okay, I do content, that's fine. Other people do content. But anyone that will tell you, never, ever, ever do this thing is not a safe person, because no one's pregnancy is the same. No one's birth is the same. So I shouldn't give you one answer and say that everybody must follow that rule. So the minute you find, for anyone that watches content, the minute you find that the person that you're following says, you must all do this one thing, or you must all do this thing, or you must never ever do this, and says that on a platform where plenty women are watching, plenty pregnancies, different pregnancies, and tell you one fact to do, then they're not safe. It frustrates me. I'm just going to start raising my voice.
That was a lot.
It's a lot. Do you know why? Because they email me.
Yeah. Yeah.
They email me. My baby, it's me. I'm reading their stories. My baby passed away. My baby's dead. I'm reading it.
Wow.
I say it all the time. I remember one time I had my little anniversary with my fiance, and I literally had to turn off all my emails because my PA knows that we get emails that I wouldn't be able to see that whilst I'm in a jacuzzi.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Get out.
Get out.
Now.
So I have to delete my emails because women will email you and say, I thought I couldn't. Why? Because they watch content that is so unsafe. I agree. Two things can be true with me. One thing can be, yes, the hospital doesn't give great care all the time. And yes, you might feel stuck. And yes, they put things that you don't necessarily need to do. But yes, the other thing, like doulas are unsafe too. A lot of doulas, two things can be true.
Now I'm understanding what you were saying at the beginning, where you were saying they don't.
Now I'm like, no, you get it? Because hospitals cesarean. No, forceps, because they have what we call defensive care. They don't want to get sued. And then you get doulas that think every woman should deliver by a waterfall. Do you see how both people are insane? Waterfall.
Waterfall is crazy.
No,
but I
promise you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you guys need to find a balance, because they're very much, back in the day, back in the day, a lot of babies died too. And back in the day, a lot of mummies died too. We didn't have data like that. And back in the day, they were eating mangoes from the tree. Now, mummies are eating Skittles, chicken and chips. Our health is not the same.
Yes, yeah.
You are sicker than your ancestors. Your ancestors ate healthier. We didn't have it. They didn't have M&Ms. It's a long one. That's not even.
I wasn't even going to go in this direction, but since you are saying this, right? The other day there's a book that's really attacking me to read it. I haven't tapped into it yet, but it's called The Garden Within, and I don't know if you've heard about it, but I think her name is Dr. Anita, Christian woman, and so she was talking about how what we eat is everything in our body. Now, my partner, he is a serious man when it comes to eating right. He wants,
nice.
oh my gosh, I've never experienced anything like it in my life. And I'm like on the opposite side of the spectrum. I'm like, give me jollof rice every day. Like, I'm down.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is leading you to death. Like, please have your veg. And so, you know, what you just said there is huge for someone like myself who is so opposite. Like, I'm just not really, I'm not here. So for someone like myself, who, you know, who does know that she definitely wants to have a child one day, I know that this isn't the be all and end all for it, because like you said, every woman is different. So it might not be the same thing for me as it is for someone else, etc. But how important is the food that we take in relation to our pregnancy experience?
Oh, it's a hard one, you know. It's a hard one because I'm not great myself. And I'm like, I'm teaching people, I'm not great myself. But I feel like, genuinely, like, it sounds so basic, but having something that's balanced, I feel like if you're extreme on anything, it's never great. So I don't want it to be like, oh, you must eat this and you must eat that. It's not like that. Yes, you should take your vitamins. I always say, like, take vitamins because our food in the UK is not enough to give us the vitamins. But in terms of like, eat this specific thing, I wouldn't say that's, I don't think I'm knowledgeable enough in that space to be like, this is what you should eat. But I definitely know that we need to eat healthier, especially Black people. We're already like more likely to have gestational diabetes. And gestational diabetes, if you don't know, it's just diabetes whilst they're pregnant. Like, women become diabetic when they get pregnant. You didn't know? Yeah. And it's a very big thing in Black women.
No way.
Yeah, and all Black women have to be tested for it. But not all white women have to be, because they're less likely to have it than Black women. But Black women are actually more likely to
This is
get
insane.
and it's a diet. And they will tell you, like, I was speaking to somebody the other day and she was saying that she had gestational diabetes in her first pregnancy. And then the midwife said, between me and you, for the second one, you just got to lose weight and you're less likely to have it. So you got to eat less. You know, we eat rice. We're very heavy. Hello, I'm here. I'm with you.
Please.
I'm with you. Release me. But it's about eating healthier and not being overweight. Those are the things that would hopefully help you reduce the chances of getting gestational diabetes.
This is great, because we've just pivoted exactly to where I need us to even focus on right now, which is just about the unspoken battles that, like you were just talking about right now. I've never heard of that time in my life. Gestational diabetes. Never ever heard about it in my life. And it's only even recently that there's certain things that I've become a lot more knowledgeable on or wanting to understand more. We're talking IVF, fertility struggles, etc. So what do you think? Why do you think there is so much silence around some of those health conditions, especially for the Black community?
I feel like religion has robbed a lot of people.
Well,
I don't want to waste time.
Let me just sit comfortably, you know.
This is the definition of, Black people. This is the definition. I think religion has robbed a lot of people. And it's sad because, let's talk about fertility, for example, A lot of people won't speak up about fertility issues, right? Because there's a taboo around it, and there is this idea of evil eye and stuff. And I always say to people that I understand I'm a very balanced person, right? And I believe in instruction from God. I believe in doing what God tells you to do. Your instruction can't be my instruction, right? So I might be able to go out and put my bump outside, I'm there, but God told you not to post your pregnancy, then don't post it, right? But what people have with religion is that, for example, they might have fertility issues and they feel like everybody's against them. They don't seek for help. And it's like, they'll pray, God, give me a baby. I love specific prayers. You know what I tell people to do? Okay, you're God and God will help you. Fine, go and get tested. What's the issue? What's the word of that issue? Pray about it. Use the words in your prayer.
Yeah.
God, do you get what I mean?
Yes, I do.
You can find a balance in, you know that God is there for you. You think God cannot work if you know the name of your condition.
Oh, yeah.
Why do you feel like God needs you in a naive space or in a very, like, you have no clue about your health and that's the only way God can help you? You're stupid, in my opinion, right? So if I have any issues, I'll go to the GP. Okay, what's my issue? And I will go to God. What is it? Gestational? Is it meningitis? Is it whatever it is?
Yes.
Be specific in your prayer. You think because you took an injection and you took medicine that God gave people knowledge to have won't work for you because and that's what I'm saying. Religion has robbed people and it has put people in a space of isolation. And I think people don't realize how dangerous isolation is, especially when you're not in the right mental state. Women struggling with fertility, people that are trying to conceive, shouldn't be in isolation. You shouldn't feel more stressed. You're less likely to get pregnant. Do you get my gist?
Yes, I do.
So it's so painful that people in their ignorance have limited how God can help you. It hurts me.
Wow.
It hurts me. You will find a lot of mummies. There was a lady, I remember, because I get a lot of people that tell me they're pregnant. She told me, and the way she was begging me, please, I don't want anyone to know. And I'm just like, first of all, my peer has signed an NDA.
Yeah.
I will sue her before you can sue her if anything ever came out, right? And it's one of those things where she had to delete that quickly. I'd seen it, but she deleted it so quickly because there is a huge fear on you're not allowed to struggle.
Yeah.
And lots of women are trying to conceive more than we know. More than we know. And they can't speak out about it because they feel like, they're not Christian enough if they get extra help.
That's serious.
But yeah, let me not go on a rant.
No, I mean, please do.
But that
was a lot.
There's
a lot in this conversation. There's a lot. There was a lot, and there's been a lot. I'm overwhelmed.
Sorry.
No, this is great. This is amazing. I think it even biblically, God does answer very specific prayers. So come with your knowledge, come with your understanding of yourself. I'm running with that one. I want to focus again on, some of the unspoken, situations and health matters that Black women face, right? So let's talk about fibroids and PCOS. The first time I heard about PCOS properly or found out about it was maybe about 3 years ago. And I've seen so many more women come out of late, talking about it online, which has been amazing. So I want to talk about it more so uniquely, how it uniquely impacts Black women. Can you talk me through what you know about it and that experience?
So I feel like what people should realize is that PCOS is an umbrella term. So when people say describe it or this, PCOS looks different in a lot of women. So it's this is the umbrella and then this is what you have that fits in that umbrella, right? And Black women, there's a high rate of PCOS. And with fibroids, I think the statistic was crazy. I think it's more than 70% of Black women will have fibroids.
More than 70%? More than 70%?
And I think I'm even underplaying that number.
Wow.
Right? Between the age
of...
I don't remember that statistic.
Will have?
Yeah, they have or will have.
Wow.
Between this age and I think the age of 80, at one point will have fibroids.
Wow.
And it's a similar number for white women, actually, funny enough. But the impacts in Black women is disgustingly higher. So you have to look at facts, break it down for me. Yeah, Black women and white women will have fibroids. The impact on it, how it affects their fertility, how it affects them altogether, it affects Black women more. It's always more intense. Right?
Wow.
But it's about making things not scary, right? So I always say to mummies, especially a lot of my followers are people that aren't pregnant. People like you, Wunmi, that,
one day, you're coming.
I have them, I call them, what you just said, one day. And
the one day is.
Exactly, the one day is the things that you can do for yourself is save the way you can buy the latest hair or the latest makeup trend or the latest this and that. I always say, save money. Yeah. And I call it, what is it? I put it on my laptop or somewhere. I think I called it I'm Not a Dickhead Fund. What did I call it?
That is the most insane name I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, it's called I'm Not Prick or I'm Not something fund. Yeah. And I have it on my Monzo. Yeah. Which is, if you ever get into a space where you feel like you're not being heard. And Melissa Wardrobe, I don't know if you heard her birth story.
I have, yeah.
She did. And I remember I spoke to her and I asked her if I could speak about it. And she said I could. Everyone's saying, Mel made me do it. Mel made me do it. Great. This is another one that Mel should make you do. She spoke about her birth and she said, you know what? There was at one point when she had to go do a private scan. Mel should make you feel, this is what she should make you do. Every Black mum, a Black girl that is one day should have I'm Not a Dickhead Fund. Why? The minute you feel like you're not being heard, do you have money to go to another place and just pay for a private scan? The way you are able to save up for the next this, the next that, I always say to them, anyone that's my age, younger than me, older than me, that wants a baby at one point, have a I'm Not a Dickhead Fund. I say it all the time. Do you know why? there's nothing worse than feeling helpless. That is a disgusting feeling.
Yeah.
I never ever want to feel helpless.
Yeah.
And you're carrying a child that you feel like you need to look after, and then you feel helpless. So I say all the time, stuff like fibroids. Do you know if you have fibroids, Wunmi? Go get a scan.
Wow, attack.
Go and get a scan.
No, you're right.
Go and get a scan, because you're like, one day, that one day might need to be closer than you think.
Whoa.
I'm telling you.
I hear you
I
loud
would
and
give it
clear.
to you straight.
I hear you loud and clear. Yeah, yeah.
But go and get a scan.
Yeah.
It's not I should wait till I'm pregnant to know if I have fibroids. Do you have fibroids now? Okay, fine. Change your diet. What are the diets like? What's everything you need to do to shrink them? It's not a guess game. I tell black women all the time, you don't have that luxury, unfortunately, to be ignorant. You don't have the luxury.
Wow.
It is not a safe space. You can't be like, oh, I will manifest. Shut up.
It's too much.
Go to class. Go to antenatal class. Study your body.
Yeah.
Know what it is. Go for a full blood test. Go to a private clinic in central London. Get a full blood test and tell them to tell you what everything means. Do you have the money to do that? You don't. Do you have money for hair? No, you don't have money for hair. Now you have money for scan. So every black woman that watches this should have I'm not a dickhead fund. Save it up. If you have, hopefully by the time you have a baby, let there be, even if it's £200 in there, even if it's 10K in there. Melissa is comfortable financially. And did you see how she was speaking? It broke many hearts watching that video. I had goosebumps. I'm a midwife. I've heard it all. I had goosebumps hearing her story.
Wow. So
I'm like, you guys, this is somebody comfortable. How much more you're not comfortable? How much more you don't have money to go for a scan? So you're going to book your scan?
I'm going to let you know as soon as it's done, because, well, this is a lot. This is a lot. This is amazing. I've kind of lost my train of thought.
Sorry.
You
No,
really
I feel like
spun
I
me.
went on a rant.
You spun me.
It's passion for me. Do you know what? I'm just tired, Wunmi. I'm tired of black women going through it.
Yeah.
And I'm tired of black women not knowing how to not go through it. And people say to me, you need to talk to the healthcare professionals. It's easier for me to speak to you.
Yeah.
I can't teach.
Yes.
Do you get what I mean?
And also, how long will that take?
How long will that take?
For it to do anything proper?
Exactly.
Wow. Okay. Let me gather myself again. Just because you were mentioning the difference in terms of what black women experience and white women experience, right? Can we talk about that a little bit? Just shed a little bit of light in that for me.
In terms of
black women who have fibroid versus white women who get fibroid. Yeah. What is the difference in the experience? You're saying that black women is completely different for us.
It's completely different. It's more intense. Fibroids tend to be bigger. There's more of them. They affect fertility more. The risk that they pose in pregnancy and in birth is more than in a white mummy.
And then for you, what are some of the challenges that you see black women face when trying to get support for fertility or IVF?
I think sometimes it's a financial thing as well. IVF is expensive. It's expensive. I think financially it's something that I've seen that a lot of black families struggle with. Yeah. Getting that. And also, what else can I say they struggle with?
Is there a pattern, would you say, also? I think that's quite important, actually. Is there a pattern that you see in terms of how the reaction that you get, that black women get from the support they're trying to seek from doctors?
I think with doctors, not necessarily, I would say. I think it's because a lot of IVF is private. Okay. So you get a different, exactly. Yeah. They'll take anyone that comes in. But I think it's getting to the space of being able to talk. And I feel the support that they get mentally as well during that process is very important because it takes an emotional toll on you, because now every period feels like heartbreak because it's another reminder that you've not conceived. So I think people forget about the emotional support that people need when they're going through IVF or when they're trying to conceive. Yeah. I couldn't imagine that stress and how people feel. I know a lot of mummies trying to conceive, and they've been trying to conceive for years. And it is a horrendous experience. It has a toll on a relationship. It's a struggle because sex is no longer enjoyable. Yeah. Because it's a task now.
Process.
So yeah.
I want to know, just thinking back to some of the comments that you made earlier, right, about people who are overly religious, right? And, when we were playing this or that, I kind of alluded slightly, ever so slightly on that. But do you often see cultural or spiritual belief clashing with medical advice when it comes to fertility or womb health?
Fertility, sometimes. Because some women, not fertility, like women health, like for example, some women have like religions or cultures where they should produce as many as they can. They don't believe in contraception. And sometimes that could be they have so many babies and their health is deteriorating and medical advice is to tell them to stop. But religion will tell you that you should keep having baby. Do you get why that could clash? We could say, especially for example, let's say they have cesareans. We would tell somebody that's having a cesarean, we would tell somebody that's having a cesarean that don't try not to conceive for like 18 months so that your scar can heal. Whereas somebody that doesn't believe in contraception can get pregnant in like 6 months, and that's dangerous because your scar can tear.
So we've named the pain. We've explored the system. You've beaten me personally. It's been an attack. It's been a lot, but it's been amazing. But I really want to kind of go more so in a forward-thinking manner. I want to talk about healing. I want to talk about legacy. I want to talk about you. I want to talk about you a little bit more. What kind of birth experience do you hope, off the back of this conversation, do you hope that Black women can have? In short.
I would hope that they have a birth that feels safe, regardless of how baby comes out. A birth that they feel in control. And they feel knowledgeable about what's happening. That's the kind of birth I would want every Black woman to know. Is like, okay, what was the birth? What made it change, or what made it like this? How do you feel? Did you feel like you were carried along on every decision? And I want every Black woman to feel like every decision made in that room was with her consent and was by her rather than being forced on her. That's what I wouldn't talk about, because I'm happy with mums that have cesareans, instrumental births, vaginal births, whatever birth, but I hope that every Black woman leaves feeling like, okay, that was my birth.
That was my birth. That's it.
That's what I want them to feel.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Next one for you, right? What's the one thing you wish hospital and healthcare providers would actually listen to from doulas and midwives, or midwives?
As in the system?
Yeah, the system. If we're attacking the system head on, you're facing them right now. What are we going to say?
I would say, for the system, I think it would be nice to acknowledge that it's broken. The system hasn't acknowledged that it's broken, right? So if you acknowledge something's broken, then we can work on fixing it.
Yeah.
But if you think that you're just adding something to help with it, no. The system is done. It's actually broken. There's too many bad apples as well. So it's about, what are we going to actually do to, clear it up a bit.
And then when we think about you,
when
we think about the work that you're doing, because I feel like I obviously know you, but I don't think I've really understood like the depth of what you do up until this moment. And it's huge. Like I'm going to be sending you some questions very soon. But for you, in terms of legacy, in terms of knowing that this isn't something that you're just carrying off your own back, this is a thing that is very much backed up by God. God's hand is very heavy on you in this. What does legacy look like for you with what you're doing? What kind of mark do you want to leave?
I think the mark I want to make is sort of supporting new people to have the same vision. I think the legacy that I would love to have is an organization, a team that is actually effective in changing what care looks like for Black women. And the way I always say I want care to look like is relatable. I don't need to say big words to you. Relatable.
Yeah.
And that's how I try to portray myself, is that you could relate to me, but I can teach you. I'm not silly. I went to school. So that's what I want. And that's what I'm working on now, is that, okay, I have these people coming out now that have studied the anatomy of a Black woman and knows how to, and that's what I'm working on. So I'm like, okay, this is literally what I would love is, okay, we know that in 2025, and there was a lady that was called Mamadinya, and she was making sure that these things were put in place so that Black women felt safe in care. That for me, I feel like I'll be doing something positive.
You're on your way there, man.
By God's grace.
You're on your way there. And then last question for you, right? If you could speak directly to Black women who's afraid, or to a Black woman who is afraid to give birth based off of what she knows, what she's heard, what she's been told, what would you say to her, or what do you think she would need to hear from you right now?
I would say to every Black woman that is a bit worried, nervous about pregnancy, nervous about birth, nervous about the statistics, is that one thing is clear, is that you don't have to be a statistic. And I hope that gives you reassurance, is that study your body, learn about yourself, learn about what pregnancy looks like, feels like, and give yourself grace. And always tell yourself that regardless of where I'm going to birth my baby, I'm in control of myself. I'm in control of my body. And these people are here to provide me a service. And one thing I will always make sure to tell every Black mom is that you're perfect, you're beautiful, and you're worthy of a safe space. And it's your job, your community's job, to make sure that that's kept. And I wish everyone that's pregnant the most beautiful or blissful pregnancy and the most joyful birth. And I wish you all an amazing experience into motherhood. Yeah.
Round of applause, everybody. Guys, more energy than this. That was amazing. Are you joking me?